Well, hey everybody, and happy Valentine's Day. Welcome back to Kiki's Kitchen, and I am making my sweetie a Valentine's dinner. I did give him a choice, and one of his very favorite things ever is shrimp and rice. So I'm going to make it for you. I've made it for you before, but it's been a minute. And we're going to have that, and we're going to have what my family calls Billy tomatoes. They are called Billy tomatoes because my brother-in-law, Bill, is the one who basically first started making them way back when. So I'm going to show you the quick and easy way, but I want to get them underway because, believe it or not, they take longer to make than the shrimp and rice does. So let's get them underway. So what I have done, and the oven's ready for them, is I have cored a tomato and simply cut it in half. I have sprayed this, even though I'm going to use oil on it, I have still sprayed it. And again, cut it in half, cored it and cut it in half. And I have sprayed it. I'm going to use, this is flavored oil, and I got this for my Valentine's gift. I got oils and vinegars, very cool. And this is a Tuscan herb oil. So I'm going to drizzle a little bit of that on here. On each one. These are very simple, but oh my goodness gracious, are they good. So I'm going to drizzle a little of that on there on each one. I'm going to hit them with some kosher salt. Remembering that I'm going to put Parmesan cheese on them, and the Parmesan cheese does have some, pretty salty flavor to it. So I'm just adding a little boost. Some black ground easy for you to say, ground black pepper on each one. A little granulated garlic. Granulated. I like it much better than powder, or certainly I do not use salt because then I can't control the salt. So just a little bit on each one. If there's any one of these things you don't like, just omit it. Of course, some oregano. Now, yes, it is a Sprite bottle. That's where I keep my oregano. And as I always tell you, you want to grind it up. Put the heel of your other hand in here. And then we're just going to season the top of each tomato with some oregano. Last but not least, some basil. I would prefer, certainly, fresh basil, but it's February and I don't have any at hand. So this will be just fine. On each one. Last but not least, and because this is what I have, I'm using grated, and you want to use a grated cheese. And you want to pour it on here generously. I'm going to go back with a spoon and even all this out and add even more. Because I want to get it all out to the edges, and I really kind of want to form a well in the middle a little bit. I have my oven preheated at 375, and they're going to be at least 30 minutes. I got a big old clump in there. There we go. All right, looks good to me. So now I'm going to go back with my oil, and going to drizzle over the top. Of each one. I'm going to hit it a little bit with a little bit more oregano. If you have fresh parsley, that would be good too. You want an herb on the top. And in the oven, it's going to go. So this is going to cook while we get the shrimp and rice. So let me put this in the oven, and I'll come back to you when we've got the ingredients together for the shrimp and rice. I'll be there in a second. Okay, so we're getting ready here now for our shrimp and rice, to start our shrimp and rice. And, you know, there are a few recipes that I say to you, make this. This is one of them. If you love shrimp, make this. It is truly such a great recipe, and it is so easy. I have in this pan, my Rachel Ray, I have a stick of butter, and I'm bringing it up to temperature. And what I'm going to add to that is I have chopped sweet bell pepper, and I use the mini sweets. And the reason I do is because, first off, I don't really care for green peppers that much. They seem to be a little bit more bitter. These are sweet, the color peppers. Plus, the mini sweets offer me all kinds of different colors, and it makes it prettier. So, and then I have a sweet onion, and that's going to go in. And I'm going to saute those up for just a few minutes. And then I'm going to add some mushrooms. Any one of these things that you don't like, except, I mean, truly, I mean, the onion really does give it a lot of flavor. Everything gives it a lot of flavor. But if you're not a fan of peppers, yes, you can leave those out. Actually, I will tell you, and I think it's the pepper, this recipe came from my BFF in New Jersey, Denise. Oh, we have to check our tomatoes. And there's something that I do a little different, and she was the one who found it, and I'm not sure where she got it, but it has truly been one of our all-time favorites. And so I do something differently than she does, and it might be I add peppers and she doesn't, or I don't know if I add mushrooms and she doesn't. Anyway, make it how you like it. So as this goes in, I'm going to also add 1 1/4 cup of raw white rice, just plain old long grain white rice. And what we're doing here is we are browning the rice as we saute the vegetables. So flip them around in that butter, flip that rice around in that butter, spread it out, and let it start to brown along with your vegetables. I'm not going to put the mushrooms in because they really don't take that long, so I'm going to let these guys kind of do their thing. So I'm going to put you on pause while I quick check on those tomatoes. Hang on. Okay, the tomatoes have a little ways to go, and this is starting to get brown. So now I'm going to put in my mushrooms. Now, you may notice I have them cut really, really thick. And the reason for that is that my husband, he doesn't mind the taste of mushrooms, but he doesn't like the consistency. He thinks they're very spongy. He doesn't mind that they're in there, but he does like to pick them out. And because he likes to pick them out, I put them in here giant size. Now, the truth is, when you put them in this size, they truly do get smaller. They get, so I put them in pretty good size so that he at least has a fighting chance at finding them. So, but, and I don't use them a lot, but I decided it's Valentine's Day, and it's my Valentine's Day dinner too. How about that? So I'm going to let this continue to brown, and we'll be right back. Okay, we're continuing to brown, and we have started browning. So once we start showing a little bit of brown on here, and I keep spreading it back out, and I hope you can see that. I keep spreading it back out so that it kind of covers the whole bottom of my pan, so that it does have a chance to get brown all nice and even. So we're going to go ahead and season it. So we want about a teaspoon or maybe a half a teaspoon of kosher salt. You can always add salt at the table. You can't take it back. And you want the same amount of pepper, about a half teaspoon to a teaspoon. And you want about a half a teaspoon of thyme. Now, I'll tell you, I get this, and I get this in the international food aisle, where the Mexican seasonings are, and I'm telling you, it is a lot more cost effective, believe it or not, to get it over there. And it's, it's a great place to look for your spices. Mexican oregano is over there too, and that's very good. So that's about a half teaspoon of thyme. I put the salt and pepper in. And then nutmeg. Now, I'll tell you, again, this is where I get this. I love using whole nutmeg. It gives it such a fresh flavor, I can't tell you the difference between this and ground. It's just, I just love it. So, it calls for about a half a teaspoon. And, just kind of eyeball it. And this is what makes this wonderful. Not even kidding, a little bit. So let's toss that through. See how we're coming. You see our vegetables have sauteed down nicely. I've got a pound of shrimp. And I buy raw shrimp, frozen, raw shrimp, shell removed, and of course deveined. I don't eat no undeveined chicken. Or shrimp. Gotta have deveined chicken. So I've got about a pound. I have used this and added a lot more shrimp. But here's the thing. It's just my husband and I tonight. And while this is great for lunch tomorrow, he'll have a tough time deciding for his lunch tomorrow because he loves that creamy tomato soup. And that's what I made him for his Thanksgiving, or for his Valentine's lunch today. So he'll have a choice between this and that for lunch tomorrow. But that's about as far as you're going to go with the leftover on shrimp, right? So I'm not going to kind of waste my shrimp on something when it's just the two of us. So a pound is plenty. And I got their large shrimp, and I think they are 16, 20, and maybe 19, 24, something like that to a pound. So there's plenty in there. All right, so that's telling us to look at those tomatoes again. Let me back you up just a second so we can open this door and take a peek. Oh, they're looking absolutely beautiful, but not quite yet. Like I said, they do take a minute, that's for sure. And they stay hot for a long time, so mind yourself. When you go to cut into that and put that in your mouth, that tomato, inside that tomato stays hot for a really long time. So I knew that if I made that ahead of time for this, believe you me, I can leave that sitting on top of here and it'll be just piping hot too, really, when they're done. Well, we are getting close here. And I do believe, yep, I do believe we have liftoff. I want you to see, I hope you can see how that is browned nicely? We've got a nice brown on that rice. And that's what you want to see. All right, let me put you back up so I don't have any more filming incidences. And let's move on. So what we want to do here is we want to add our white wine, a cup of white wine to this. Now I'm going to tell you, just to show you, this is what I'm using. This is not expensive, and it's a white wine Pinot Grigio. I like Pinot Grigio because first off, I do like to drink Pinot Grigio. I'm not a big wine drinker, but if I am going to drink it, that's probably what I'm going to drink. And it's a very light and crisp flavor to me. So that's what I'm going to put in here. So let's toss that around one last time. Everything looks good. And in that's going to go. I'm going to take this cover. I'm going to stir this here. And I'm going to let this simmer 5 minutes covered. I'll be back in 5 minutes. Hang in there. Our tomatoes are out of the oven, and look at them. Look at them. I'm telling you, this is so simple. It is such a simple side dish, but it is absolutely delicious. And trust me, I've got maybe 15 more minutes on this, and they will be just ready to serve. Make no mistake. Turn off this oven as I'm thinking of it. The only other thing I wanted to do to this for the moment, I still have about a minute and a half left on the wine, is when I've got two bay leaves, and they're going to go in, and because in 2 minutes I'm going to add 3 cups of chicken stock, and I've reduced this to a very low simmer as you would if you were cooking rice. So in a minute, I am going to add those 3 cups of stock and those 2 bay leaves. I'm going to cover it again and let it go for another 15. So I'll see you in just a few. Actually, just not even shy of that. So I'll see you in just a few. Okay, so that's 5 minutes. Oh, I got to tell you how good that smells. Oh my goodness. I haven't told you yet, and I know I did. Make this. You really got to make this. So I'm going to just stir that around a little bit. I want you to see down in there, it's absorbed all of the wine. Now, if you don't do wine, then just add another cup of chicken stock. It is not going to have the same wonderful flavor, I will tell you. I mean, but it's still going to be very, very, very good. So instead of a cup of wine, you're going to add 3 cups of chicken stock and then just let it go for 15 minutes. Now, we're going to let this go for 10 more minutes. And because we still haven't added our shrimp, if you will recall. So, I'm stirring that all up. I have it on a low simmer. I'm going to add my 2 bay leaves. In there going to go. And I'm going to cover it. And set my timer for 10 minutes. At the end of 10 minutes, we'll be back. Okay, so now we're getting down to it. So this is, and it's just like cooking rice. You know, once you brown off your onions and your rice and you add your first cup of liquid to it, you know, normally rice takes about 20 minutes to cook. So cover it up, and that's about how long you're going to cook it for. But you can see all of my liquid has been absorbed. Most of my liquid. I mean, it's still juicy, of course. So now what we're going to do is now we're going to add the shrimp. And I beg you not to overcook this shrimp. It takes literally 3 minutes, maybe 4. But all you need to do, you can see that it's a gray color, right? You can see the shrimp is kind of a gray color. And we're going to toss it in here with this rice. And you can see it's starting to get pink. While we chat, it will cook. It cooks that quick. And you know, one of the things that my brother-in-law, Bill, who we're making Billy tomatoes, always says to me when I make this dish for him is, the shrimp is just so good, it pops. And it pops because it's not a little rubber thing because we've overcooked it. I mean, it really, you see it get pink through and through. It takes maybe 3, depending of course upon your size shrimp, but it takes 3 to 5 maximum minutes to cook this shrimp. And it is see, they're already starting to pink up like that. And that's, I mean, yes, they got to cook a few more minutes. And you can cover it, which I will. And I will set my timer for about a minute. And it will be done. So we'll be back. I'll load my plates and we'll be back to show you the finished product. And here it is, my friends. Look at that. Look at these nice, beautiful pink shrimp. And you know, I have a friend, Rhonda, in Charleston, and she loves shrimp. Ronnie, this is for you. You really do need to make this. Very, very good. So let's put it on a plate and dress it up. Okay, look at this. Topped with a little parsley. I'm telling you, I urge you to make this because it's so, so good. Really, it is. So, so we have this, and we have our Billy tomatoes. And I told you that my husband stopped and got me some oils for Valentine's Day and some vinegars. And this one is white balsamic peach. So I am gonna drizzle a little bit of that over the top of my tomato, and we are gonna have a really nice Valentine's dinner. So I hope you try this, and I hope you try this. Happy Valentine's Day. Bye.